Aha! Hello! Well, welcome back. It's been a while since I've done a video. We are out in the middle of the woods looking for a white oak tree. It's a very mystic part of some of the most, or one of the older traditions here in the Appalachians. And I say that because this was something that was brought over from England. The Native Americans had working knowledge of this, but it's really something that was brought over from England. Over in England, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be posting this one up all over, not only just YouTube, but all over my woodworking stuff. So for you guys over in England who are watching this, there's a form of basket called oak swivel basket. Over there, you have to boil your white oak. Ooh, there's a meadow. Let's save some time. See, meadow. I love meadows. Because I've been fighting through that right there. Don't you love it? And then the other way looks like that. Haha. Amazing though, that's all food. If you get it at the right time. Unfortunately, it's not edible now. So, there's a house down there. So I got completely sidetracked. Okay, well, anyways, for those over in England, there is a basket called an oak swivel basket, and that basket has been around for centuries. And it's made by actually boiling the oak tree and pulling it apart by the growth rings. So that was brought over here, and the Native Americans knew what signs to look for in the white oak tree to pull off fibers for cordage, much like we do with hickory bark or a bass tree like that. So it's a very, very old tradition. Goes back two cultures meeting together, each kind of sharing stuff. And when the Native Americans had iron and metal, they started working the wood up into baskets. And then, of course, they ended up selling it. Ah, there's a white oak tree. Well, there's a white oak tree. This video, like I said, I got sidetracked. Bear with me. I do that quite a bit. So, this white oak tree right here, you see it. Go down to the base, go up to the top. Nice, straight grained. But I can tell you right now, just by looking at it, it's not going to be a good tree. And I can point out several things. One, you'll see right in here, that splotch, splotch, splotch. See how the bark changes? The bark changes. And you got these white splotches all over the tree. And then also, for those of you out there looking into getting into white oak basket making, the bark's not soft. And the limbs, we'll look at the top of the limbs. See how they're branching straight out? That means this tree is going to be a very healthy tree one day. And it's already gone brashy. It's already gone brittle. It's just not going to make a good basket. So that's some of the signs to look for on a good white oak tree. And I'm going to keep this thing rolling and yabber on for a little bit, because this is a very, very ancient craft. And here in the Appalachians, it's a staple of Appalachian traditional craft. If you're looking to get into something purely Appalachian, purely traditional, white oak basket making is the way to go. Not everybody can do it. You can learn how to do it. You can take what I teach you in this video and you can do it. You can learn it But out of the thousands of people I have taught to make a basket, anybody out there can make a basket. You can sit down, you can take a bunch of materials, you can weave a basket. I mean, this stuff right here, all that greenbrier and the twigs, you can make baskets from. You can take maple twigs. You can do all that. That's another part of Appalachian tradition. It's using what you have at hand to make the item that you need, that you're going to try to sell, barter off, trade, whatever, or you're going to use on your farm. Now, here's another white oak tree. See that? That's way too big. At least I hope you see it. And you'll see how that tree there is growing real nice, straight. The limbs are all branching out. That little tree I first showed you, this big tree is that little tree's future. So, another part of this, and the reason I love this craft so much, it's not because I just grew up in it. The woods I'm walking through, I have been all over the Blue Ridge Mountain in this area since I was like 3 years old. I've been in these woods looking for split wood since I was 3. I've been brought up in this. So, it was an interesting childhood, that's all I can say. And it was a great childhood. So, the thing about this craft that makes it purely Appalachian isn't that we're just using something. We're not going out into the woods and hacking down a tree. None of these trees will work. I mean, especially in there. All these trees are too big. They're too healthy. The trees that I want to get into is over there. See how they're all nice and small? They're not as small as this white oak tree. And this white oak tree might actually be able to work, but not much. The bark's nice and soft. You see how it's just flaking off? Look at that. Look at that. Nice and soft all the way up. But look right here. Right there. That's going to kill you. All these knots. And then right in here, your grain changes right here. That little bit right there, that's where the bark starts to get hard. Anything below here, not going to work. So you're only going to get a piece of wood that's going to work from here to here, waist, and the rest of this is knotty. Way too much effort. It will work, but not my cup of tea. I'm going to let nature reclaim that, and that brings me to this point. White oak basket making, like all traditional craft, or traditional greenwood craft, that is, like the Bodgers over in England, is based off of what nature gives you. So if you're a survivalist and you don't believe in raping your forest but helping your forest, you live symbiotically with nature, like I do, as much as possible. If I'm working and I don't need to eat, if I'm working, I'm bringing in money, food's out there, I don't need to shoot anything. No point shooting animals when you don't need to, right? No point taking from nature what you don't need. So, but nature always gives what you need, always. So, what we're looking for is a tree that nature is going to say, Nathan, Bigfoot, I like you. You're a basket maker. You know what to look for. The more you know, the less you need, right? So when you learn this stuff, especially finding white oak trees, you learn to find trees that nature is going to kill off. And these signs I've just showed you, some of them, is nature's way of saying, Bigfoot, you're a basket maker. I like you. You've learned it. I'm killing this tree off. This tree's not strong enough to make it. It's fighting. All these woods in here, every tree is fighting to survive. Every one of them. It's a battle out here. It's a war among the trees. Some trees win, some trees lose. So, which, again, I'm rambling, I know. There's a spot up here I want to check out. And I think, yeah. I'm off the mark. Okay. Well, there's a spot up here I want to check out. Way up there. And you'll see the tree markers. I'm outside of the line. Here we are. Deer prints. Okay, good. We're back on the deer trail. So, you know, it's a symbiotic relationship. Nature gives, nature kills off, and we don't want healthy stuff. None of what my company uses is healthy wood. We don't go out, we don't kill it, we don't harvest a healthy tree unless it benefits nature in some way or another. So, okay, now here's a tree that's not going to work out too awful well. If you're learning, if you're listening, and you paid attention, you'll see. Is that a deer? Okay. We're not going to turn this into a horror movie. Don't worry. Yet. But this tree here, it's got a bunch of knots inside of it. A bunch of really knotty wood. It could have made a good basket, maybe, but it grew up healthy. And the trees that nature kills off is like that guy right there. That one there would have made, or would have had the possibility of making some baskets. Aha! Perfect. Perfect. That's the one I'm looking for. Aha. So, let's get in a better light here. So, yeah, I think I found it. Scary, right? You're looking around for wood and nature says, here's a tree. You just gotta pay attention and you just gotta listen. But that tree right there, see how it's nice and straight grained? Look at that thing. Not a blemish in it. Look how nice and solid that bark is. And look at those limbs. Hopefully you're seeing it. Are you? Yeah. Those limbs are straight up. They're reaching for the sky. So what does that do with the wood? What that does, this tree's fighting to survive. This tree's not gonna make it. In fact, when I cut it down, and I'm fairly sure I'm gonna cut it down, but we're gonna give it a couple more tests. So this is a big tree. You know, this is about an ideal size. 6 to 8 inches is what we're looking for. So this is the guy. You see, it's nice and soft, all the way down, right to there. Here's where I'm going to cut it off. And look at that. Nice, soft bark, flaky. Here's a little hard, but it's still coming off. See that? And those limbs. Almost every limb in this tree is reaching straight up. So what does that tell me? That tells me this tree is fighting to survive. That this tree, nature's probably going to kill off in the next 5 years. And there's other trees around here too. I mean, you got these guys, that guy, that guy, that guy. They're all fighting for the space that this one tree's taking. And these other trees in here are actually winning. There's other larger trees around here that's actually coming in to the top of this tree. I mean, you'll see that. This guy here, that guy there, that guy there. They're all crowding this guy off. So nature is going to kill this guy off, which is good for us in some ways because we get to make baskets, right? And from the looks of the barrel of this tree, we're going to get a lot of baskets. It only takes one tree. So back to my earlier statement about the limbs reaching straight for the sky and asking, you've had enough time to think about it. Hopefully you've thought about it. But this tree, the fibers in it are being stretched out. As this tree grows, those limbs are pointing straight up to the sky. This tree is stretching. It's like you're taking your arm and you're doing an exercise and you're stretching all your muscles, you're stretching your fibers, the fibers in your muscles out. Same with this tree. How does that translate into making baskets, you might ask? Well, that translates into having a tree that is straight grained, no knots. I mean, take a look again. You got a knot right here. Down here it gets a little funky, but look at that. I mean, it is straight grained. There's very few knots. You know, there's a good 10-foot section in this tree to be able to work. I mean, that first limb right there, we can use everything to that first limb that's coming off. Actually, I take that back, because underneath that limb is 1, 2 knots that looks like they go all the way around the tree. But even then, we can work all that up. And if the tree is high enough quality, because see, I don't know, and I can't tell you that this tree is going to be absolutely 100% workable. Weird, ain't it? It's got all the signs. It's got everything. But you don't know if it's going to work. You just got the signs, fibers are stretching. My whole geology here could be wrong. So it could be growing in the wrong soil. And if it's growing in the wrong soil, it could be brashy. And if it could be brashy, you might not see this video. Or you may see this video and I may film another video in another area where it will be successful. So you gotta ask yourself, how do you know for 100% sure that this tree is going to work? Well, gotta bring your knife. So, in my boot, come back here. I know, it's finally free of the room. Got my knife. It's one that I've made. It's actually, for anybody who paid attention to my Instagram, this is actually that Damascus steel knife blade I made up that I acid etched in Coca-Cola. So now we're gonna actually put this knife to the test and see just what it is capable of. Will the metal fold? Will it hold? If it folds, it's not gonna be for sale, ever. So, reach up here, and you gotta take this, and it's not been sharpened. This is right from the grind. Ooh, okay. So, you take this, and do a scrab, and I want to see about the fibers in here. Ooh, hello. So, the fiber bends. See that? It's not breaking. Even when I squinch it together like that. See that? It's still holding up. But now that's only the first growth ring, really. So let's go a little bit deeper. And this process, you'll know if I've been in your woods looking for basketwood because of this. And P.S. why am I saying P.S.? It's been a long week. That's all I can say. But for those who are wondering if I have permission, yes, I have permission. Andre, thank you, man. I came back for it. And yes, I did scout this tree out. So, this video isn't about it's about hunting for good wood, but you have to know ahead of time. Now, you'll have seen that there's no marks on this tree. I didn't test it out. So my hunt wasn't finished. Today is finished. So we're deeper into the wood. You know, look at that. Nice. Those fibers are bending, they're not breaking. This is going to be a good tree. So, now that I know it's going to be a good tree, or at least I'm hoping, because still, it doesn't mean it's going to be 100% workable. What, you ask? Bigfoot, you just showed me a tree that's got all the signs. It's got straight limbs, it's got soft bark, there's no knots, the bark is flaky. It's a true white oak tree. That's what you're looking for, is a true white oak tree. Here in the Appalachian, we have several different types of white oak. It's odd, I know, but I've been hunting white oak my whole life, so we have different types of white oak, and there's a book that describes it that really, when I came across it, and thank you, Richard, for that book, let me look through it, but when I came across it, it explained quite a bit, because there are several different types of white oak trees. And here I'm pointing the knife at the camera. Sorry. Hairy guy with sharp objects. So, we're going to drop this tree. It's a true white oak tree. We're going to drop it. It works. It's got all the signs. I'm confident that if I take this tree, that when I look at the growth rings, nature's going to say, Nathan, good job. I'm killing this tree off. I'm sure I'm going to look at it and see the growth rings get smaller and smaller and smaller. When you cut a white oak tree down for a basket, your growth ring should not be wide. It should get smaller and smaller and smaller, because that tree's killing itself off, right? It shouldn't get to be real small and then get big, real wide. You don't want wide growth rings. Big no-no. It's like Peter Fonsby when he was trying to carve that one episode. No, not that one episode. I think it was on the Woodwright Shop. I think I saw that one. One of the few times I actually watched TV. Or it might have been in the Popular Woodworking, but he talks about having carved. I got hunters out here. Interesting. I've been yapping this whole time. No, construction workers. Construction workers, that's what they are. They're building a house over there. Bummer. Well, here I was thinking I was all by myself. Well, anyways, I think Peter Fonsby had talked about cutting or carving a red oak tree with really wide growth rings. Yeah. Oak tree with really wide growth rings do not work very well in just about anything, especially for turning. But turning, carving, the finer the growth rings in a white oak tree, the better. But now if you're timber framing or you're building a cabin or something, the wider the growth rings, the better. So I'm going to shut up and I'm going to go on ahead and drop this tree. And hopefully I'll be back. All right, we're back. And nearing the end of the picture. Well, the video picture. Funny. So, tree is down. Yeah. So hopefully you see it. It's down. We've got it trimmed up. I'm saving that section right there for future use for other projects. You don't want to throw any of it away. So that right there is going to go into walking sticks and a whole bunch of other stuff. With the company, we use every bit of that tree down as much as possible. I can even carve the limbs and stuff out in the spoons if I wanted to, but white oak's such a porous wood. Nah. Makes a beautiful spoon, but it's porous. Nah. So, I haven't checked the growth rings yet. So, we'll check this together. How's that? So, here we go. Hopefully you'll look at the growth rings and you'll see what I was talking about. Gets real wide here. So here's going to be handles, rims, all that wonderful stuff. There's going to be some nice splits right in here. How nice and fine that is. This tree has been struggling. And this tree is probably about 45, 50, who knows. Yeah, about 45, 50 years old. It struggled. It's gone right here. Right here, it almost died. This forest tried to kill it off right here. And it said, no, I won't. And it started to put out healthy growth here. And then again, right here. Right there. It tried dying again. Possibly due to some very dry seasons. And right in here, it started to pick up again. And you'll see right here, it's kind of balanced itself off. But those growth rings are still getting finer and finer and finer. right here. And lucky me, I found it. This tree's had a sad life. Poor guy. So, other interesting things that happened. So, as a craftsman, you have to look at your finer, especially when you're harvesting your own material, you have to look at some of the finer points of it. So, here, right here, look at that nice fibers that pulled off. Look at that, that right there. When you're hunting for a white oak tree, that is an awesome, awesome sign. The farther those fibers pull, the better it works. And now that we've got this opened up, we can come in here. Look at that. Those fibers are still nice and flexible throughout that whole tree. I mean, look at that. Ooh, ooh, oh, okay. Now I'm getting, oh man, look at that. Just look at that. See that? Right there. Look at that. Hopefully you're catching it all. Look at that. Ah, look at that. Look at that. May seem like I'm just a hairy redneck out in the middle of the woods and I just dropped a tree and I'm pulling apart a bunch of the fibers. I'm just pulling off little pieces. But by doing that, this hairy redneck is feeling how this tree's working. That's what cannot be taught in this craft. It can't be. It is something that either has to be acquired through a very long time of trying to figure it out, or unless you're lucky enough and blessed enough to have grown up in a traditional Appalachian family that keeps these older traditions alive for future generations. Then you kind of grow up with it, and this is what I grew up with. Many times I've been out in the woods like this, hunting down trees. And the only reason I was able to shoot the video today is because of, one, I'm going to give a shout out to Andre. Andre, man, thank you. Wonderful tree. Did exactly what I told you it was going to do. So, with that being said, without that permission from Andre, this tree would still be here, and in another few years it might have just kicked the bucket and died. So thanks to Andre's permission, we were able to get in here, we were able to get the tree. But the hunt for the tree, I've covered hundreds of square acres in a day. We covered 500 square acres one time for a special project done by one of the foundations around here. Didn't get a thing. Nothing. 3 trees, I think, out of 300 acres, at least. And this was battlefield. 300 acres of battlefield. 300. 3 trees. That's 1 tree in every 100 acres. Think about that. 1 tree in 300, at 1 tree in every 100 acres worked. It's a very, finding splitwood can be very hard. I have spent days out in a forest, whole days from sun up and before sun up to sundown and past sundown, and come out with nothing. So that pre-scouting, if you have watched this video to the very end of it, first of all, thank you. Second of all, hit like, share, subscribe. Or don't. It doesn't bother me one bit, because this channel will never be monetized. I'm not doing this to get famous or YouTube famous or get money or paid from YouTube. Nah. I'm doing this primarily because this is an ancient craft. It's got roots from several different cultures. And like the American culture, it is many cultures all combined. The Native Americans knew about this. They would have pulled the fibers, just like I was pulling from this stump here a minute ago. They were pulling the fibers apart and using it, but they were never able to use the whole tree due to, first of all, how hard this tree is, and second of all, they had copper, and we're not really sure about how much iron they would have had. So it really wasn't feasible, especially when they could harvest a bunch of weeds and stuff around here and make baskets that would hold what they needed to hold, especially with the poplar bark and stuff. This here, they would have known about it, but it wasn't worth their effort until the settlers came in and introduced metal. When they got metal tools hard enough to cut this wood, oh yeah, they used it because they knew nature was going to kill it off. So with that being said, the hunt, we hunted out and scouted this location, Andre and I showed him a few of the trees around here that I would like to take. This is a good area. There's about another 5 or 6 trees in here. So another 5 or 6 trees is a good deal, especially when it's trees like this. So let's go down here. What I have showed you here at the stump is just the butt of it. That's the stump of it. That's the very end of it. When we go down to the end of the log, and I have not checked the end of the log. So when we go down to the end of the log, we're going to see a whole different story that the butt is telling us. That's where you're going to see the widest of your growth rings. So traditionally, we always look at the end of the growth rings. So here it is, not been touched. Let's see what it has to say. Look at that. Hopefully, you are seeing it. Oh, look how nice and even those growth rings are. Nice and even. Oh, it's going to be a very good tree. So, we're going to be able to fill our order. The company is going to be able to make a bunch of baskets with this. We'll pass it down, and you have just witnessed, next to moonshining, a very old part of Appalachian culture. Yes, culture. It is a part. If you live here in the Appalachia, this here is a very deep, deep part of your culture. If you are born and bred into it, it's a part of your culture. If you decide to live here, it's a part of your culture because you are living among other people who are born and bred here. So, and it's what the land has to offer. So if you're coming here, you settle in Appalachia, and you want to research the culture and stuff, you're going to come across a lot of white oak baskets. And here in this county, this is Page County, Virginia. Here in Page County, Virginia, we have the highest percentage of white oak basket makers in the Appalachia. It is something about this area that white oak trees love. Now, with that being said, I'm not going to say there's not other areas out there that make really good timber. My time out in Missouri, I came across some really good timber. In fact, she had, I was ready to drop that tree. The only things that stopped me was 1, I didn't have permission. 2, I did not have permission. 3, I did not have permission. 4, I didn't have my chainsaw. So make sure when you do something like this, if you do something like this, what you do with this information is completely up to you. The company's keeping it alive. And not only is the company going to keep it alive, but now you have a chunk of the knowledge with you. And here's why I don't think most people would get into this other than if you really have a hard work ethic. It goes back to being Appalachian. Here in the Appalachia, we have a very hard work ethic. And the more traditional your family is, the harder the work ethic. You don't get a break. You don't take breaks. It's a hard work ethic. And this video is now going on 35 minutes. Well, it's actually 34:16, but by the time I get it done, it'll be 35. So I have kept y'all long enough. Remember, if you like the video, go ahead and hit like. Let me know you like it. Because that's the whole reason I'm doing this, is to keep this stuff alive. And, not many people in this area know about it. I'm one of the last basket makers here in the area. Sad, isn't it? It's a whole part of our culture that's disappearing. So, others from across the country know about it. I know because I've helped teach some of them. Not all of them. I will not say I taught all of them. or help teach all of them. But, you know, the family and I, we have taught quite a number of people, up in the thousands. So it's definitely a deep part of the culture here. It's definitely an old tradition, and it is filled. It's almost like sharpening. Look at that. I went over 35. Well, oh well. It's my video. But it's like sharpening. There's a whole lot of mysticism involved with it. What I've done out here, I've just taken you out here with me. I went to a tree that I scouted out, that was pre-scouted out, but not dug into. We did not dig into this. We did not know what to expect other than the signs that I showed you and a few of the things that I pointed out to you in the trees back there. So you have noticed, first of all, that area we came into, it was brashy, it was overgrown, trees were big. It was a healthy forest that had a lot of briars going through it, which was fun getting through. I enjoy that. So the woods out here, however, hopefully you pay attention to the background. The woods out here are all young trees. They're all fighting to survive. Yeah, really young trees growing up. Look around, look again, go back, rewind, look at the footage again, look at the trees. Very young trees. They're all fighting. That's what we want. So, with that being said, I have to haul these logs out, and here's why a lot of people are letting the craft go, because of just how much hard work it is. So, with that being said, I have to haul these two chunks, or I might come back in my Trailblazer. I'm going to haul one of them out for sure, but I'm probably going to take, I'm going to haul one of them. I'm going to come back with my Trailblazer and get the other one. So I'm driving the church van. Haha. Well, maybe not haha, but I'm going to avoid making a huge mess in the church van with that. So I'm just going to take one log. Yeah. And we need to hike it all the way back out. And yes, there is a road here, but that road goes on somebody else's property. When you can use a road, use it. But this is one of those cases where you don't get a road. You have to hike it up the hill, down the hill, across valleys. You have to get that tree out however possible. So, I hope you enjoyed. This is close to a 40-minute video. It's one of our longest. And we will be shooting another video about how this tree works. Okay? It won't be today. Might not be this week. But I want to show you how this tree will work. Okay? So, if you want to see that video, leave comments. Share, subscribe. Well, don't really have to share it. But it is nice. It is helping get the word of what the business, me, this whole thing out. At least out into the digital world. I do a lot of demonstrations. I push the business out as much as possible. So if you want to keep seeing stuff like this, if you want to see the baskets being made out of this, if you want to see how this tree works, go ahead, hit like, I dare you. Hit share and hit subscribe. Get the word out there. It's a part of our culture. There's not many people left doing it. And out of them all, I'm one of the youngest. It's a sad, sad thing. And here in this county, in the next 10 years or so, I'm going to be one of the last basket makers. It's a sad thing. So, but there's others here in the county that I know of that are still making white oak baskets. And I know because I've taught them. The family's taught them. They've learned. But that's the thing with the green woodworking world, isn't it, y'all? There's room for everybody. That's why we share. That's why we invite others. That's why we teach. Because the stuff I'm going to make is going to be completely different than what you will make. Completely different. The stuff that one person wants from me, they won't want from you. And the stuff that they want from you, they won't want from me. Everybody's different. They all have a different taste. And the products that we make and the way that we keep all this alive, I don't care if you're in England, I don't care if you're selling over the internet, I don't care if you're selling next to me at an event. And I welcome that. That would be awesome. We'd have a time. it'd be a carving time, really. It would be. It'd be awesome. But regardless of what you're selling, and that's even close to mine, it won't be the same. And the people that we reach will not be the same. So teach. That's the wonderful thing about this green woodworking world. There is room for everyone if you're willing to learn it and you're willing to put in the time to get good and you're willing to do the hard work. Because your product's gonna be way different than mine and quite possibly way better. And I hope so. That's an awesome thing to be able to teach somebody and see them that they get better than you. It is. It really is. So with that being said, go on ahead, hit like, hit share if you want to, hit subscribe. It doesn't matter. This video is now over 40 minutes. It's a great time out here. I get loopy when I get out in the woods. This year is where I'm feeling at home. I could just stay out here. It's gorgeous, gorgeous. Except for the motors, the air compressors going over there, and the hammering. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and log one of these trees out. And if you want to see the video, go on ahead, hit like, hit share, subscribe, and definitely leave comments. Definitely leave comments. Now I know what I was gonna say. The one thing about this county over the last 20 years, and I've been making white oak baskets now for the last 25 years. I know, right? Young guy like me, 25 years of my life devoted to green woodworking, especially in this form. So the white oak baskets that I make, that will be made out of this, it's a very big, very stable part, and there is no old-time basket makers left in this county. None. And the old-time basket makers are the ones that went through the Depression. It was passed down in their families. Their families learned it somehow, some way. It was a part of their family. It was a part of their family history. They learned it. They passed it on. That generation carried it on. And they carried it on through the Depression. A lot of the old-time basket makers here, that's how their families made it through the Depression. They would go out into the woods, find a tree, hack it down, make baskets, take it out to the store, trade for what they needed. That was a big part of our culture here, especially in this county. There's baskets. If you come to Page County, Virginia, and you go to the right spots, there's baskets everywhere. Old white oak baskets everywhere. And I find white oak baskets in antique stores that I've made. Really, that I have made in antique stores. It is interesting. And it's awesome. It's really awesome. The only problem is, it's not an antique if I made it. So, with all that being said, I'm going to let y'all go. Thank you for taking the time and watching this video. Thank you for just being a part of it all. And what I have showed you, like I said, not many people know it. Use it as much as possible. I dare you. You will find yourself challenged in ways you do not expect. But that's traditional green woodworking. So, have a good day, y'all.